Been a pattern for the last 2 years or so. Once these girls they say my fiance, it's a wrap on anything that the dude does is stupid, any kind of abuse,
What's happening? Yes, I'm late because Auntie decided she wanted some neck bones for dinner. So guess who didn't get started on that until about 3:20? So that's why I'm late. Anyway, I'm here now 2 days in a row, which is unusual for me. But let's see, we got us 20, it looks like 26 questions today. Hopefully I'll have time to do all of them because, I'm in the middle of cooking too. If not, that's fine. I'll continue on another day. But if you want to submit a question to this column, look at the QR code up there on the screen and just scan it with your phone or tablet. And the advice submission form will pop up. Just fill out all the blanks, tell us what your story is, and press submit. And then we'll, it'll go into the queue and we'll see if Candace picks it. If she picks it, then I'll be reading it and give you an answer on the next show. So that's how this works. This is not a live show. This is people have submitted their questions in advance show. So you guys ready? Let's get rolling. Question number 1. Young lady, 35 to 41 from Santa Barbara, summer issue. Am I wrong for showing favoritism? Deb, I have 14 nieces and nephews. Good Lord, that's a lot. I love them all, but someone called Faye will always be special to me. She is smart and pretty and funny and energetic, but she has 7 siblings, so her parents are struggling. That's a lot of babies if you don't have no money. A few days ago, I took her out to lunch. She was ranting about her life and how hard it is that she doesn't even have a computer for schoolwork. So I took her shopping and bought a laptop for her. Then I bought her a bunch of new clothes for her and a new backpack. We were going back to her house in order to not upset everybody. I brought McDonald's for all of her siblings. But her parents were upset when they saw that and said that I'm showing favoritism. They called me a jerk. I mean, what else am I supposed to do? Buy a laptop for each of the 14 kids? I'm not a billionaire. I'm trying my best. But the fact is they have too many kids for me to treat them equally. What should I do? You should continue doing what you're doing. I mean, it's, have a sit down with them and say, I understand that you guys are struggling and there'll be certain things that I do. Like maybe you could, I don't know, the money you spend on that trip, you could fund, a day out to the zoo for all of them or something, pay for everybody's admission and for snacks or something, get the parents, $200 or $300 and let them take all the kids to that event. Or, plan something like a camping trip. You rent the facility, get the equipment and stuff. The parents are responsible for, taking care of their kids, but you buy the food and they cook and what, you know what I mean? So there's other options that you can do to involve the other siblings, but, need to tell them everybody has a favorite. I'm sure you have one too. And that's just how it is. I'm going to always treat her differently and there's nothing you can do about it. If other than that, I won't get her anything and then the other kids won't get anything either. So you pick what works for you. I'm not a billionaire. I have limited funds, but this is how I choose to spend my money. This is somebody who I connect with really well. And, your other kids, I just don't. So parents, that's something that they have to just adjust to. I mean, I had that with one of my little cousins. I used to go get her, when I was a teenager. I would go get her and I'd get her little, because she was like 2, get her little diaper bag and whatnot. And your favorite little toy that she sleep with and her blanket and whatnot, pack that stuff up. and drop it in my car. I was like 16, 17, and then drive her to my house, spend a weekend with her. And when she died in a work related thing. It was widely publicized here in the Bay Area. She was working for as a armed security guard, and I went into a bank and there was a robbery in progress, and she got shot and killed. I was devastated. So yeah, that was like, I mean, if I was a teenage mom, she could have, easily been my kid, but she wasn't. So people are always going to have a favorite. I mean, as parents, you're just going to get over it. Because my auntie had a whole bunch of other kids. I didn't go get none of them brats. I only got her. And she didn't trip. She understood, and she was happy her daughter got that special attention. So I don't understand why they tripping, but whatever. That is my advice. Try to figure out what you can do that you can afford and that will involve, do a nice thing for all of the kids and their parents. And that'll probably, shut this down. You do something like that once every 6 months or so, they'll be happy. Question number 2. This is a young lady, 22 to 27, out of Nashville. Summary of the issue: texting between dates. I'm 23 and I've been on 6 dates with a guy who is 26. He's amazing in person and super attentive, but he doesn't text much between dates. He always reassures me that he's interested and tells me that he has a good time with me. Should I be concerned that he doesn't check in more often? Or is it too early to have expectations like this? Yes, it's too early on. I mean, you've been on 6 days, so what? Have y'all sat down and made had the discussion like we a couple and stuff? I mean, do people not do that anymore? They just assume because they went on a couple of dates that they're an item. For someone like you, I mean, he's great. That's all wonderful and everything, but you should be dating other people too. You shouldn't just be putting all your eggs in his basket. He's not your boyfriend. That's not your man. He's not your fiance, and he's not your husband. He's just somebody you went on some dates with. You should be dating other men as well. That's how you avoid this kind of stuff here, where you start assuming and making demands on people and having expectations that are inappropriate. He's not your boyfriend. Okay, so he don't owe you shit. He don't owe you no time, no texting, no calls, no nothing. Okay. Now, what I also suggest, I don't know, you young people love this texting stuff. Do you realize how impersonal that is? And that not everybody likes texting? I'm one. So if you want to talk to me, call me on the phone. Don't send me a text. I will ignore it because as horrible as it is, I really don't like my phone right now. I don't know where I put my phone. It's been missing for 3 days. It's in this house somewhere. I laid it down somewhere. I don't know where I did. So the battery's dead. So to find my phone thing on my Google Watch doesn't work because the battery is dead. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll find it eventually, I guess. But if you have somebody like me, I'm not really a phone person, and I'm definitely not a texting person. So the best way to reach me is to call. So maybe he's like that. Have you ever tried calling him? You want to talk to him so bad? Just try that approach. Because after all, that is what telephones were created for, as shocking as that may be to young people. Like, oh my God, what? I thought it was just a texting device. Are you kidding me? It makes call? Y'all be killing me. Question number 3. This is a male, 20 to 34, out of Portland. Summary of the issue: does it make me shallow to not want to date somebody with a bunch of tattoos and piercings? No, because I'm the same way. I just want to share my recent experience as a 31-year-old guy. To be clear, I'm not very experienced when it comes to dating and relationships. I've only had one girlfriend in the past, and that's it. My female friend recently tried to set me up with another friend of hers. I was already feeling a little bit reluctant, but I decided to trust her and see if it would be a match. So I went on an outing with my blind date, and honestly, I had a decent time. The girl she set me up with was very pretty, but definitely had a lot of noticeable tattoos and piercings. Confounding the issue was that she talked a lot about partying and clubbing. I don't really drink, nor am I interested in clubbing. And she also vapes. Oh, she out there. Overall, I just didn't get the impression that we were suited to be a good match. My family, mainly my dad, has always been very strict about how I would never be allowed to come home again if I ever got a tattoo or a piercing. So I feel like that alone is a bit of a deal breaker for me. I feel you can't always change the core values that your family instills in you. You cannot. That's very true. My friend is a bit irritated that it didn't work out. She said that I'm clearly shallow and will probably always be alone. Honestly, well, that's not really your friend to come at you like that. You're not obligated to like somebody because she set you up. She's full of shit. Honestly, from my perspective, it just feels like I put myself out there, but realize that the person I went on a date with is probably just not the right one for me. So, Deb, does it make me a bad person that have tattoos and piercings as a deal breaker? Like I said, absolutely not. I noticed, some years ago, like these young people, everybody want to be drawn on. Everybody want to be drawn on. And it's like, it's not like you're getting like a brand drawn on you, you're getting payments every month. It's just some random bullshit. And then the people that are not even Asian or Polynesian, and they want to have, Polynesian markings and Asian, Chinese or Japanese or whatever, Korean symbols on them, words. Will you stop? Will you just stop? That's not for you. Okay, you ain't that culture. Stop it. It's cultural appropriation. It's just ridiculous. And you know that be them white folks always trying to steal in somebody's thunder. Stop it. Okay. Just leave them people alone. Don't be doing what they do. And then, like there's this book I read, this short story rather, from I think it's Edgar Allan Poe, called The Illustrated Man. I read that book when I was young, and that stuck with me. That's why I don't like tattoos to this day. I think about that book, and this guy had, he was like what they call like sleeves, what they call it now, like all tattooed, and the designs would move, and it would tell like the future, some impending disaster, and they would recreate themselves. It was the creepiest shit I've ever. Well, you don't really see it because it's a short story, but you see it in your imagination, and it was just gross to me. So every time I see somebody all drawn on like that, I associate it with that story, and I get the willies. If you haven't read that story, look it up. It's probably online somewhere. It's called The Illustrated Man by Edgar Allan Poe. I will never forget it. And there's no tattoos on Deborah. There will never be one. I was like, oh, you should just get a little flower or something. I'm like, nope. It shit might move and turn into something, and I'll be running for myself. That won't work. Let's move on to question number 4. Yeah, I'm telling you. Oh, Kim G, you back. Hey, I haven't seen you. I guess you catching me on the 2 days I'm online in the afternoon. So this young lady's 20 to 34, and she's out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. So issue. Was I wrong for telling my sister-in-law to leave my little boy's birthday after I tried her homemade cupcakes? So Deb, it was my son's 6th birthday today. I'm writing this, and we organized a little get together in our backyard. It was just me, my sister-in-law, my partner, and my best friend. We're all in the 28 to 38 range, so not young kids. Other than that, we had my son's friends and their parents. So there was around 20 people in total, including the children. I said that someone wanted to bring snacks over, they're definitely welcome to, but I will have plenty for everyone to eat, and it's not a must. My sister-in-law brought a tray of her homemade cupcakes, and I initially thought it was a sweet gesture. Just as I was getting ready to put everything together and bring it to the table, I decided to sneak one cupcake for myself to try, and thank God I did. I bit into it, and while chewing, I felt that tart, hard shell of a walnut just crunch in my teeth. My son is extremely allergic to nuts of any kind, and she's very well aware of this. I tried to be civil about it. I got all the cupcakes off the platter and went to confront her. I asked if she added any nuts to them, and she replied to me with a smile, yeah, they're walnut and caramel. I tried reminding her that my son is allergic, and she said, well, yeah, but he doesn't have to eat any, does he? And you didn't beat her ass? What's up, Diana Prince? I ain't seen you for a minute either. Like the old home week around here. From there on, I just got angry, and I got in her face a bit. I told her that she should have told me before placing them all on the same platter with the other treats I made for everyone, and that she could have hurt my child. I was fuming, and I just shouted for her to get the fuck out of my house and take her poison cupcakes with a good job. My partner came over, tried to de-escalate the situation, which she kept blabbering about how she didn't mean anything by it. The fuck she didn't. She ended up leaving and crying about it, and now my partner is upset with me. He's saying I severely overreacted and that I should have just put the cupcakes on a different platter and let everyone enjoy their sweets however they wanted. He also says I ruined everything with his sister, as we are supposed to be traveling for her wedding in a few months, and now she may not want me there. I wouldn't give a fuck. I wouldn't want to be there. The worst part is that my kid couldn't eat the cake pops that he's been waiting for because I put them right next to her stupid nut-filled cupcakes. Yeah, but as long as they didn't touch it, it shouldn't be a problem. Do you think I really did overreact? How would you have handled it if it were your daughter, Deb? Oh, I would have. Okay. Now, let's start with her bringing them when she knows the kid is allergic. Out of all the cupcakes in the world that bitch could have made, she gonna bring some with nuts in them to a household where for a party for a little boy who's allergic to nuts, knowing that he might get one because she didn't tell anybody. See, if my son ended up in the hospital behind some stuff like that, I would file police charges on her for assault because that was intentional. She did that with intent. Now, that's designed. That's what your partner is stupid and doesn't get. A nut allergy will send somebody into anaphylactic shock where they could die if they don't have an EpiPen at hand and emergency treatment right around the corner. Okay, anaphylactic shock is no joke. Your throat closes up, you can't breathe, you break out in hives, and it's just a horrible, horrible thing to have happen. I know because I had it. And yeah, it was a little work group. I'll never forget it. It's how I found out I was allergic to cottonseed oil. I went to this restaurant with some people from a job I was working at the time, and I ordered a salad with oil and vinegar dressing. Now, normally, oil and vinegar dressing is olive oil, right? These folks use some old cheap-ass cottonseed oil or something. I took one bite of that salad. My throat started itching, and your ear itches. You're doing like this, right? Then I could feel it. My heart was racing. My saliva got really thick where you could like pull it out. So I was choking. And then, but luckily one of the partners recognized what was going on. And it's like, I was grabbing my throat because I couldn't breathe. And so I fell out the chair. This is in the middle of the restaurant now. I fell out of the chair onto the floor. And he luckily had an EpiPen. Banked me on the thigh. They called 911. They took me up to it was in San Francisco. St. Francis Hospital was the closest hospital, and that's where they took me. And that's how I found out I was allergic to cottonseed oil. That's what happens when people are allergic to nuts, eat nuts. So this bitch was trying to kill this little boy. For sometimes people think, you tell them they have food allergy, they don't believe you. So they want to put you into a medical situation because they just want you to prove that you're really allergic. I would beat that bitch's ass and say, so your boyfriend, partner, whatever you call him, she leaving and crying and trying to play the victim when she could have killed your kid. That's what I would have tell my partner. It's like, look, motherfucker, I don't want nothing to do with your raggedy ass sister. She tried to kill my son. I don't want, and if you fight with her, get your shit and get the fuck out of my house. We're done. That's your two choices. You either on my team protecting my kid, or you with that bitch who tried to hurt my kid. You pick a side and you stay there. There's no going back and forth. And I would have told him that right in front of everybody at the party. Because I don't have a filter and I can't hold water when it comes to stuff like that. My temper flares and my mouth starts going. And if he didn't like it, I'd say, get the shit, you get your fucking ass out of here and go with your raggedy ass sister. And neither one of you come back here. Can you believe somebody would do some shit like that to a little kid? The kid was turning 6. That's a baby. No. I wouldn't. He talking about we not supposed to go to her wedding. You go. I'm not going. Shay, what's up? I'm not going to her wedding. I don't care if the bitch gets married, dies, Jaws Easter. I just don't care. I just don't care. Wow, that's really, because I know I would have lost. I probably would have hit her, like taking the cupcakes and smashed them in her face. Something along those lines. That's how I react to stuff like that. But it came to my kid. I was like, ridiculous. Yeah, lights up. Question number 5. This is a young man, 28 to 34, from someplace called Hillsboro, Oregon. Wow, I never heard of that. Same issue. It seems too difficult to be worth trying in this modern era. Deb, I'm a 31-year-old male, and regarding romance, I've kind of checked out over the past decade. Modern culture lacks depth and has a predominantly looks-based mindset. Western culture with smartphones, apps, and rosters has left me pretty disillusioned. I'm generally uninterested in how robotic and disconnected many people have gotten. Face-to-face interactions have taken a hit, and I know COVID didn't help either, though I know I'm not immune to all these effects myself. It just seems like post-2012, the world is so much worse in all aspects. since smartphones with apps took over, especially with dating. It feels like most people seamlessly transitioned into this new age, cyborg way of living that I've just never been able to adjust to. I wish I had a time machine to the early 2000s with flip phones being the norm. LOL. Yeah, those were fun. I'm definitely introverted, and I got the INFJ personality types on Myers-Briggs. Although I don't put much stock in it, I'm also an Aries, if that matters to you at all. What do you think of my point of view? I agree with you. I don't have like exact years and all that kind of stuff, but I definitely saw a severe change, when from the 90s to the 2000s. Once, people were able to record videos and dip into DMs and stuff like that, people just change. Or maybe it was just that they were always weird like that, and we just now have a vehicle for them to express their weirdness. I just don't know. I do think too that the online environment, the impersonal kind of nature of these dating apps and dating sites, it encourages people to be really superficial. They don't look for any depth. You just look at the person's face and, oh, I like their smile. I like their face. I like, their body, and they swipe in whatever direction it is that means I like this person. And if they don't, then they swipe to the other one. There's no investigation into what kind of person this is. Is this going to be a person that'll have your back, true blue, diehard kind of friend? I mean, there's no thought to it. No thought to it at all. And it also goes, because of that, it's transitioned into a culture where everybody is looking for instant gratification. So if like these girls, the one just wrote, she went on a few dates with this guy and like, well, he doesn't text much. And, what is it? So, I mean, at all these demands, they don't call me. That's not your man. I mean, people just expect all this instant reward and instant gratification. They want nook on the first date. And, if you don't give them no nookie by the second or third date, they're out because, they feel like you're not interested. I don't know. It's just really weird. It's very weird. I'm glad I'm old, so I don't have to deal with all of that. And I really feel sorry for you young kids who didn't really get to enjoy what we used to call group dating and, just going on dates with somebody where all that stuff wasn't expected. You're just there to have a good time and enjoy each other. It's just really weird now. All the weird expectations, people that don't have any social skills. Everybody got anxiety about one thing or another. Their self-esteem is shot in the underground. And so they do all this weird shit. They don't have any kind of boundaries. It's just a whole shift in society that I've noticed over the last, I'd say 20, 30 years, that is not good. It's not good. I notice when I go out to restaurants, there'll be a group of people, everybody's face is down like this and they're in their phones. They're not even talking to each other. It's like, why are you guys even out then if you're not going to talk to each other? That's the whole point of going out and being face to face, so you can have some FaceTime. Like in real time FaceTime. But they don't. So I would challenge young people, if you go out in a group, make everybody put their phone in a bag. You guys hand the phone, put the phone down with the bag of phones on the floor or something, and have some conversations. Really try to relate to each other. Get to know people. What are they thinking? What they're going through? What's their hopes and dreams? Get out of your phone. You're not going to die if you don't see a text or a call for 2 hours. Okay, just try to relate to people around you. That would be a really great thing to do. And I think people would be a lot less lonely, and they'd have a lot better relationships with the people that are in their circle. So try that. You guys make it a rule. When you get together with your friends, phones go in the phone bag. And then that's it. They stay there until you guys get up and the meal's over, the movie's over, the drinking is, whatever is over. Then everybody gets their phone back. Because ain't none of y'all that important that you looking to get called for an emergency back to the hospital or some shit like that. Stop it. You're not that critical. There's no critical need for you. So I just don't get it. Yeah. They don't want to do any work. And the girls is totally overperforming the relationship. So, we live together, but I do all the work and I pay all the bills. And I'm like, wait a minute, where they do that at? I didn't even do that when I was married. I'm like, I'm not doing all this. My husband's up there talking about, well, are you going to cook? No, nigga, you can cook. Shit, you cook better than me. Get out of here. And so he was like, oh. And then he started cooking. So, there's a lot of things, men will try to see what they can get away with, ladies. But you have to put your foot down and tell them no. Tell them what you will and will not accept and what they will and will not do. So no, you cook. That baby be crying in the middle of the night. I'd roll over like I didn't even hear it. He's like, the baby's crying. I was like, you heard it. Get your ass up and go do something about it. I took care of it for 9 months. It's your turn. And then I would go back to sleep. Stuff like that. I'm not taking on all that burden. I'm not doing it. So yeah, our life was interesting. It's interesting in our house. So that's my suggestion to you, sir. You know, try to get you some different kind of friends, and then propose what I just said about the phone bag. Question number 6. This is a female, 20 to 34, from Manchester, New Hampshire. Summer issue. Am I expecting too much for my birthday? Deb, I'm 33 and I've been with my boyfriend 38 for 4 years. He is low effort in our relationship. Okay. So you know that. So I know what you're ready to ask me. It's going to be just ridiculous. However, he knows birthday means so much to me. Every year I plan somewhere to go for a week around my birthday. This year I planned a trip to Mount Washington and I paid for the Airbnb. My birthday was the 3rd day we were there and he wished me happy birthday when I woke up. The day was pretty open in regards to things to do. But he didn't even get me a card or a gift. I had asked for multiple times. Okay, whatever. I don't really need things, but he didn't go out of his way to make the day special for me at all. He picked me wildflowers only after I said that would be a sweet gesture. I picked a restaurant to eat at, and unlike most people, I love when they bring out a piece of cake and sing happy birthday. He knows this, but he didn't do it. I always go above and beyond for his birthday. I communicated how much mine 1 day a year means to me. And yes, I did tell him how I felt after he got home, and he said he thought the whole trip was enough. He did drive the whole time and planned little excursions. I plan these week-long trips and go big for my own birthday because I never had that as a child. I was neglected, and I came from an abusive home. So I always make it a point to celebrate myself once a year. But now that we're home, I want to cry thinking about how he put in 0 effort. Am I asking too much from him? Yes. Because you are acknowledging the second sentence of your letter that he is a low effort in your relationship. Okay, so you already noticed. You've been dealing with a low effort man for 4 years. It shouldn't be a shock to you that he's just an asshole. He don't really give a fuck about that kind of stuff. Now, if it were my father, I'm gonna talk about that in a minute, Kimchi. My daddy used to forget his own birthday. We'd be all excited because we are kids. You make them ashtrays and that little junk shit at school. So we'd be all excited because we made something. We gonna bring something. We bought daddy a present. We saved up our little pennies and we all chip in, me and my 3 brothers, and we gonna buy daddy a present for his birthday. He would always be shocked. He would, what? He honestly did not keep up with birthdays. So when it was my 12th birthday and he actually remembered, and he went out and he got me a box of seized candy, nasty, but whatever. And some roses, I think it was 6, a half a dozen roses or something. And these little turtle jade earrings that I still have. And he's in the note, he got me a card. Now, this was my 12th birthday. He said, I wanted to be the first man to give you candy and flowers and jewelry. So that, to set the bar. So don't ever accept less. That's what it said. And that just stuck with me. And so he don't remember his own birthday, but he remembered mine. So that's what I'm saying. If somebody really cares about you, they will make an extra effort. That was the whole point of telling you this story. So what you need to do is decide if you want to continue beating your head with a guy who's low effort in every aspect of your relationship, as you say, or do you want to trade him in for a man who really appreciates you and shows it, who honors you and who respects you, who makes you feel like you're important to him? That's what you deserve. But if you keep accepting this and then complaining about it every year, I don't know what else to tell you. And this thing about, you recognize that you do this because you were ignored as a kid. But honey, let me explain something to you. It's no adult man that comes into your life afterwards is capable or willing to or even interested in feeling a void from your childhood. That's for you to feel. So one thing that might be good for you is to go on a trip by yourself on your next birthday. Some kind of like spa retreat kind of thing where you can do meditation and get massages and chant and whatnot, and figure out how to heal yourself from that neglectful childhood. If you keep putting that burden on men, you're going to be disappointed the rest of your life. Nobody can fill that void for you. Nobody. It's something you have to fill for yourself. Okay? Yeah, it's just not going to work, honey. Yeah, me and my daddy, honey. Ooh, that was my boy. He wasn't like, I can't even say he was like the best father because he was, like I told everybody, he was real street. He just was just out there. But when it was time for somebody to have your back, he was right there. And it was, he wasn't about no bullshit with these people, no boy guys I dated and stuff. He was like, he wasn't having it. Put his gun on one of my boyfriends who came down. He like unhooked some wires in my car, right? Because he wanted the man to talk to me and I didn't want to be bothered with his ass. And so my brother happened to see, my oldest brother saw him doing it. And so he ran in the house. He tells my dad, right? My dad's like, what? So then he's call that little, And so we called him. And so he thinking he going to talk to me and stuff. My father walked down them stairs with his gun in his hand. He said, I want you to put her car back the way that it was. And so he was so into his little 18-year-old little punk. So he's up there, putting the distributor cap back on and everything, hooking the wires back up to the spark plugs and everything. And so my father said, don't you ever do no shit like this again. I might stay away from here. I don't want to see your ass on this block. As a matter of fact, I don't want to see you in the 3-block radius of this house ever again. And well, I didn't see or hear from him ever. That boy was scared out of his mind. But that's the kind of daddy I had. He wasn't about the nonsense. And if he had to shoot him, he would have made up some story like, well, he came with my daughter, which was true because he disturbed, messed up my car. But yeah, my dad had friends on the San Francisco Police Department that he grew up with. So, they would have covered for him. So that boy, he lucky that's all that happened. That's all I'm going to say. Let's move on to question number 7. This young lady's 22 to 27 from Calgary, Canada. So her issue, I recently decided I will never lend money to friends or relatives again. And I want to ask you if you agree. I started working not too long ago. One thing I've always tried to do is help people who need money. I know what it's like to be in a situation where you desperately need some cash, but you have no one willing to lend it to you. So whenever someone I trusted asked for help, I usually said yes. But one week, several people asked to borrow money from me. The first was someone I knew from school. She said she needed money to rent props for a project. The rental shop was holding the props for her because they knew her personally, even though many other students wanted to rent them. She said if she couldn't pay that day, she'd lose the opportunity. So I lent her the money. Around the same time, my aunt asked to borrow money because her son was sick and she needed some medicine. She said her husband was still at work, so she had no one else to ask. You go to your husband's job and you get the money from him. That's what you do. Another friend messaged me saying she urgently needed money. She sounded panicked, so I didn't even ask why before sending it. A few days later, I went shopping with another friend. She found something she really wanted, but realized she didn't have enough money. So she asked if I could cover the rest. I agreed because I trusted her to pay me back. The problem came when I needed my money back from these people. Not one of them paid me back on the dates that they promised. The girl who borrowed money for the school props did eventually pay me back, but only part of it. Took another week before she finally paid the rest. My aunt stopped replying to my messages whenever I followed up about the money. The friend who said she urgently needed it kept giving me different excuses every time I asked. The friend I went shopping with always told me she simply forgot, even on days when I knew she had money. What hurt the most wasn't even the money itself. It was how quickly I helped them when they needed me, but when I was the one in need, it suddenly became difficult just to get a reply or have them keep their word. After that, I stopped lending money to friends and relatives altogether. The only exception is my older sister because she's the only person who has always paid me back without me having to remind her. Part of me feels guilty because I know what it's like to need help, but another part of me feels like I was taken advantage of. Am I being too emotional or illogical for deciding not to lend money to anyone anymore? No. But what you can do with your auntie is call your uncle and tell him, the situation and that she promised that you came through in the clutch. But, you're just a young kid. You don't have a lot of money and you need it. And so get the money back from your uncle and then tell him that, you don't feel comfortable. She better not ever ask you for anything again. The friend who needed money, who kept giving you different excuses every time you asked, you should go to her job and act a fool. See, when you had your back against the wall, I was there for you. But now you don't want to do it. Don't make me have to take you to small claims court to get my money. And I would say that right at her job, right in front of everybody. Make sure her boss heard it. Because see, a lot of people don't understand that, you have to have a certain amount of courage to do some shit like that. But Deborah has it. I don't give a fuck. I will go to your job. I'll go to your parents' house. I will go to your school. I will go right in your classroom. I will act a fool anywhere until you give me my money. Now, as far as the friend who was shopping, needing some money to get something, never lend money in a situation like that, because that's not a need, that's a want. Borrowing should be when somebody has their back up against the wall, or they are desperate, dire straits. Like I had a friend one time, I was between jobs. I had been out of work for a long time, ran through my savings. It was horrible. The situation, I never want to be like that again. That's why I'm so tight with money now. But I got past some interviews, and then I was supposed to start work, but I didn't really have any appropriate attire, right? Because I'd been out of work for a while, and styles changed, and my shit was old. And so she took me shopping. And, we got like enough stuff for about a week's worth of mix and match kind of stuff. Some pants, a couple of skirts, everything was on sale or clearance or whatever. And I spent about $200. And as soon as I got my first paycheck, I paid her back her money. She put on her credit card and I paid her right back. So that is an emergency, because she knew this was an important job at a law firm. You can't go in there looking raggedy. You have to look like, a polished professional. And she knew I was worried about it, concerned about how it would be perceived. And so she came through like in the clutch. I didn't even have to ask her. She offered. And then after she made the argument, you can't go in there looking crazy. I was like, ooh, she's right. And so, we went to Macy's and she charged me everything that I needed. Great friend. That's a friend. Somebody got your back like that. So that, that wasn't what you had, though. She just want to shop to some frivolous shit. You don't give money, lend money in situations like that. She can save the money up and go back and get it when she has it. Then question number 8. Uh-oh. Hold on, you guys. I'm hearing my thing beeping. I don't know what that means. Something's going on wrong here. It's probably about to burn up my food. How do I find the stuff I need to put on the intermission right quick while I run in here and figure out what's happening. Okay. Okay. I don't know what that was all about, but those of you that have an Instant Pot, it beeps at you. And so I could hear the beeping from the kitchen. I was like, oh no, what's going on? I'm about to burn up something. So I just turned it off. I'll deal with it later. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so let's move on here. So this is question number 8 of 26 questions today. This young man is 22 to 27 age group out of Antioch, California. Some of the issue. Is it bad if a girl says that you seem like the type to settle down? Hey, auntie, I went on a first date recently and it went pretty well. It lasted nearly 6 hours. And at the end, she asked to hang out in my car. Nothing happened, in case you're asking. I'm like, While I was driving her home, she asked what my longest relationship was because I'm, quote, nice and seem like the type to settle down, end quote. Is this a bad thing? I know that often when a girl calls you nice, it's a bad sign, but I don't know. What do you think? That means that her perception of you is that you are not a frivolous young man and that you're the serious kind and that, you are more focused on a long-term relationship that might involve, marriage and children and white picket fences and stuff like that. She sees you as, somebody who's serious-minded and focused. Now, is that a bad thing? It's only a bad thing as if she's a party girl. She's a party girl type, then that won't, that's the opposite of what she would be interested in. And that would be not necessarily a bad thing about you, but it just would mean that it's a bad thing as far as you two being a good match. That's not going to work. You two wouldn't be a good pairing. But if a girl just says that you're nice, I agree with you, especially if she says you're, quote, too nice. That's the word, not just nice, too nice. If someone just labels you as being too nice, that means you're kind of a simp. And I hate to use that word, but that's what it means. Like the kind of guy that grovels for attention and begs and whines and wheedles women into trying to get what he wants out of them. Question number 9, this young man's 22 to 27 from High Point, North Carolina. Oh, I wonder where that is. Summary issue. What is meant by doing, quote, the work? Deb, I've been in therapy for about 9 months now. I've had some progress, maybe not as much compared to others, but it's still notable to me. One thing I've noticed from women in the dating scene has been how much they've, quote, done the work, end quote, and how guys haven't. What exactly do they mean by doing the work? And why is it always said with such finality? In my sessions, we talk about things going on in my life, what may be troubling me, self-reflections, etc. And we set small goals for the near future. One is simply setting up a dating profile, for example. After 9 months, I'm finally considering the possibility of putting myself back out there socially. Dating would be nice, but the thought makes me pause. My ex was also one of those people that used that phrase. And in my biased opinion, there are still issues there, which was fine at the time. I let certain things slide without directly addressing them for various reasons. And short story shorter, we aren't together or talking anymore after our first real argument. Lesson learned, but what I'm afraid of doing is going into the next relationship with hardened boundaries and pushing that person away to not repeat the past. It would have been good if you had told me what some of the issues were, though. I've been really good at keeping people at a distance, so of course my instinct is to not put myself out there, but that's what's easy and comfortable. Yes, it is. I've improved parts of my life. I'm in the process of revamping my social circle. However, I'm still aware of ways I'm lacking. I'm probably always going to have some baggage for the foreseeable future. I'm probably always going to bristle hearing the term non-negotiables. But if I wait for a magical time when I don't have any more, quote, work to do, I'll never date again. You're right. But what does doing the work mean? I mean, I don't know. I could just tell you what it means to me. But, probably means different things to different people. What it means to me is, okay, so you're an adult now and you have issues. You have issues that are preventing you from being successful in work or in life. There's some kind of stumbling blocks that you have. It could be due to past trauma. It could be to, some kind of brainwashing you had. Maybe you were raised up in a super religious household and you don't really want to be influenced by that anymore. You find it very limiting. Maybe you had some kind of, abandonment issues from being, your parents dropping you off at a orphanage or something. I mean, people have all kinds of different things. Maybe you're raised in a household with alcoholics or drug addicts. There's so many things that could be. Okay, so this is your early foundation as a young person. Now you're an adult. You are still clinging to that shit. And you using that as the excuse for why you are still like hanging on the corner, not working, not going to school, not having any of the things that you say that you want. You're not putting forth any effort to make those things happen. You're just using that past as the excuse for why your present is not the way that you want it to be. That to me is doing the work. If you're not doing the work, then you just talking about the past all the time. Oh, this and that. I was raised this. Oh, my parents. Oh, you don't doing the work as an adult means that you realize you have these issues. You got this shit going on in your life. Your parents are like this. Your early childhood was like this. You had trauma, you had drama, you had abandonment, you had whatever. You start doing the work to get the fuck over it. That's what that means. If you don't do the work, then you just, gonna wallow in that and use that excuse for why you're a failure and don't achieve any of the things that you say that you want in your life for the rest of your life. You constantly talking about the past and you constantly playing the victim. That was cool when you were young because you were too little to do anything about it. You didn't have a job. You didn't have, you weren't an adult. You didn't have the right to really do anything about it. You were a dependent child. Okay, but now your ass is 30. You've been out of school. You got all kind of jobs and job opportunities. You're living in your own place. You got all this stuff going on. And you're still talking about the past. You're still leaning into it. That's it. Okay, I don't know. I can just tell you, that's what I'm talking about. Don't mention. Oh, thanks, Shay. Yeah, I just, what you talking about? I just don't understand that. And we get a lot of these letters from here, from people like that write here. And the lack of work is reflected in the way that they handle themselves in relationships. The way, like I can tell when somebody has the kind of thing where they have abandonment issues because the way that they handle the relationship, they do anything to keep that relationship. They do anything, just anything at all to totally demean and degrade themselves, accept all kind of abuse and nonsense. They have no boundaries, whatever, because having the relationship, having that person or really any person, it means more to them than their dignity. That's how you know somebody has not done the work. These men that sit up there and talk about, oh, this girl rejected me in high school, and I just, all women are this, and Western women that, and all this kind of stuff. Okay, all of them men need to get themselves in some deep, dark, everlasting therapy because they're damaged people. And when you have negative attitudes and negative energy like that, do you really think somebody who's healthy is going to want to be bothered with you? I mean, for real. As they say, FR it's not going to happen because anybody who's healthy going to see you coming a mile away and run in the opposite direction. So, you want to have a good relationship. You want to have someone who's got your back. You want to be with somebody who loves you and going to be committed to me. What do you offer that person? If you're all still talking about the past, you're not offering them anything in the present and they have no future with you. That's what doing the work is to me. Now, you asked me, so that's my assessment. You're in therapy, so you at least on the path, so you all right. Yeah, see, Shay put, oh, let me let's see, let me put Shay's comment up here. So see, the Shay is our moderator. It's been our moderator for years. So this is what this, if you're not doing the work to heal the trauma, yep. I'm trying to tell you, girl, that's it. They just wallow in that self-pity and use that as an excuse to hide and continue doing the same dumb shit year after year after year after year. One thing I do kind of recognize though is, people will listen to their friends and what, they'll listen to their friends, they listen to their family. Sometimes they don't listen to anybody, just hold it in. By the time somebody has the courage to write to me, I feel like they're ready to take the next step. They might not know what step to take there, but they're ready, which is why they have reached out to somebody who's going to tell them what to do. So if you notice my advice, I usually tell them, okay, first you do this, then you do that, then you do this here. I try to give people step-by-step solutions to the problem, which therapists don't do. They're like, well, what do you think you should do? Fuck out of here. If I knew what to do, I wouldn't be sitting here. But, some of that is called for. Well, did you think that was a good decision? Why did you think it was a good decision? Those are some questions I would ask if I was a therapist. But I would never say, well, what do you think you should do? Because obviously they don't know what to do. That's why they sitting here crazy heifer. What are you talking about? So that's why I do respond to the questions the way that I do and give people answers, give them solutions. Sometimes I give several. Pick one. Either one of them is going to work. But what you're doing is not going to work. You know that, and that's why you wrote. Okay? Let's move on. Question number 10. This is a young man, 22 to 27 from London. Term of issue, flakiness needs to stop and is ruining the dating market. Well, who you telling? I'm 27 and I downloaded a popular dating app about a week ago. I'm generally decently attractive and I got 20 to 30 matches within 5 days. Within that week, what is this with these sirens today? Within that week, I received 10 numbers to schedule dates. I specifically told them I want their numbers to set up a date. I send a text. Some ignore, some are out of town, and some accept. Why are you 27 years old and sending texts to ask women out? Let's start with that. I will get back to that in a minute. I don't overtext. I keep the conversations light with some flirtation. I send a text the day of, like 5 hours before the date, for confirmation. Of the 3 I have scheduled so far, all 3 have ended in the woman canceling with an excuse after I text for confirmation. There's one girl I knew the entire day she wasn't going to make it and still waited until I texted. The other 2 also knew and had no apparent intention of going on a date, but still told me yes enthusiastically. It's very disrespectful and soul-crushing when I'm looking forward to something and then someone just backs out or lies to me regarding their intent. Okay, maybe not soul-crushing, but disappointing in that I was looking forward to meeting the person and I adjusted my schedule to do so. I mean, if you just want free attention, just leave it on the app and don't give someone your number. Be an actual adult and don't waste people's time or tell them you're no longer interested. Do you have any suggestions for me? Yes, stop being a pussy. You sitting up there, your ass is 27, you're on the downstroke to 30 years old, and you still texting like you're a 15-year-old boy. That's not how you conduct yourself as a grown-ass man. You want to talk, you got a woman's number, pick up the phone and call her like a goddamn man. What is this? You know, it's so easy. That's if I was a man, a woman, some man was texting me to ask me on a date, and that's all the only conversation I had with him was via text, I would not show up either. Because that's stupid. You got a phone, use it. Okay? You don't text it. I don't over text. I text them because I want their number to set up a date and I send a text. You want to set up a date, you pick up the phone and you say, hey, so-and-so, this is such and such from Butcher app. How's your day today? I was thinking about you and I really wanted to call and ask you out so we can get to know each other better. And then she would say, oh, really? And you say, well, what's convenient for you? What works out for you? I'm free, I have a couple of free days next week. So just lazy, these low effort ass men. That's why they get canceled on. You don't do shit and you just sit a fucking text and think that's something. Nobody trying to go out with you on via text. You tripping. And then the women are not unenthusiastic and the guys don't understand why. Because you didn't do shit. You didn't put no force, no effort. You can't even fucking make a call. That's too much work. And then you sit up there and want her to give up her time and have the nerve to think you're going to get some coochie too. And all you did was send a text. Fuck out of here. You lucky a woman even breathes in your direction. Trifling ass, lazy ass men. So that's a mistake you made. So I want you to try an experiment. Okay, the next time you get women's numbers, call them. Stop texting. It's so stupid. It's just so, ugh. How are you supposed to develop a rapport with somebody via text? How do you, in what world do they do that? When you do client things, don't you call the client? Don't you, sit there and have a conversation with your clients? Don't you have to feel like getting to know them, they're getting to know you? You make jokes with them. You ask them how they doing. Is there anything that they need help with? Can you provide any assistance? You do that by using your voice. If you would do that for a stranger, a client, why can't you do it for somebody that you try to develop a romantic relationship with? Somebody that you want to date and fall in love with. That you can't do it then. It's too much work. Oh, these dudes, they drive me nuts. I don't know who told them that texting girls is the way to get a romance going. Whoever did that was stupid. And girls, if you respond to guys who text you to ask you out, just tell them no. When he asks you out by text, tell him no. I don't respond to men who ask me out by text. Just have that little, because you can set up phrases in your phone. I have it on my Apple Watch. I have a Google Watch. I'm sorry. I had this Google 3 watch. And, you set up little phrases and you just text that instant response back. I don't respond to men who ask me out by text. So the answer is no. Block my number, please. You girls do that enough times, these dudes will stop clowning and disrespecting you like that. That's disrespectful to sit there and think you're going to get something going with some woman via text. You lazy ass bums. Ooh, just trifling. Yeah. I'm telling you, I don't understand it. How did things degrade to this level? And then people wonder why they have problems in communication in their relationships. Because you started off all fucked up and stupid. You weren't communicating from the jump. And then you expect to be able to have good conversations later? You never had a good conversation. Stop this. Question number 11. This is a male, 18 to 21, out of Peoria, Illinois. Isn't that where Richard Pryor's from? Summary issue. Do very introverted people get a bad rep in the dating scene? Very introverted. I consider myself somewhere in the middle as far as the introvert/extrovert spectrum goes. My best friend very much viewed me as an introvert, which was interesting. And my previous partners were both extremely shy women, which I wound up appreciating as far as energy, since I never felt exhausted around them. What's the consensus on dating people that are really interested? I know one thing that was a big issue for me was if someone didn't want to spend time with me and my friends at the same time, or they'd only be around me if it was just me, which I honestly felt was an issue since I felt like I was losing a lot of social stability as a result. Well, I'm going to say this. Your friends are your friends. I mean, occasionally, it might be appropriate if the other dudes are bringing their girls too. But why would you think a girl would want to be dragged around with you to be looking at a bunch of hairy men? Stinky jock sweat. I mean, come on, for real. Your girlfriend or wife is not your buddy. Okay? Your male buddies, y'all need male bonding time. Men just do stupid stuff. You say dumb shit. Women we roll our eyes. We don't like to be around that too much. I mean, I grew up with brothers. And in my day, I'm done. I had enough of that. I don't want to be around a bunch of men like that. Y'all do that over there somewhere. Go do your male chest beating and screaming and all that stuff y'all like to do. You do that over there. Sir, it's inappropriate for you to think that your girlfriend would be, that a girl to qualify to be your girlfriend must be interested in hanging around with you and your buddies all the time. That's not going to happen. There's not one woman in this world who wants to do that. Occasionally, but not all the time. So your expectation is inappropriate. Then you say, they just want to be around you. How else are they supposed to build a relationship with you? If they're in bed with you, I mean, okay, you guys are having nookie. Are your friends there too? I mean, how do you expect to build up a relationship where somebody falls in love with you if there's always a big old crowd of folks around her? How you keep doing that shit, she gonna meet one of your friends and leave you for him. That's what usually happens because the friend is more engaging than you are. So see, you haven't given her time to really attach to you because you always in a crowd of folks. It's like you trying to avoid real intimacy by bringing her with a big old group of folks like you still 15, doing a group date. Fuck out of here. You in a 22 to 27 age group. You too old for this. As far as the introvert, extrovert, that doesn't matter. I mean, you just roll with whatever your partner's comfortable with, and it's fine. I don't like the label. Yeah, they lazy ass bum. I don't put labels on people like that. Introvert, extrovert. What's this new thing? Everybody's like, that somebody's like, they have these labels about, avoidant personalities, dependent, all these things, attachment styles. That's the new thing. We want to talk about the attachment styles. And so, oh, my boyfriend is this, my boyfriend is that. And I'm like, shut up. You act like you know something because you read something on the website. Get out of here. The people are just whatever they are. Stop with all these labels. Question number 12. This young guy is 22 to 27 from Lowell, Massachusetts. Summary issue. Am I wrong for refusing to give my coworker the office chair that I won in a raffle? No, but let's see what happened. This sounds interesting. My job had this employee appreciation thing last Friday. It was nothing crazy, just pizza, some cheap, nasty cupcakes, and a raffle with random prizes. Most of it was stuff like mugs and gift cards, but the big prize was a really nice but used ergonomic chair that apparently used to be in a manager's office before they remodeled. I won it. One of my coworkers immediately got weird about it because she has back pain and said she needed it more. I do feel bad for her, but the chair was a raffle prize, not a medical accommodation. I also work from home 2 days a week, and my chair at home is terrible. So I was actively looking excited to take it home. I've been wanting to spend some money on a new chair for myself for a while now. She asked me in front of everyone if I would just give it to her. I laughed a little because I thought she was joking, but she wasn't. She said it was selfish for me to keep it when she's in actual pain. Oh, I'm glad she didn't say that to me. I told her she should talk to HR if she needs a special chair, but I'm not giving away something something I want fairly. Now, a few people at work are acting like I'm being cheap and dramatic over a chair. Should I just give it to her? Hell to the no. Take your chair home today, or whatever you hear this. I hope you already did it. Take your chair home and ignore her, because this is the thing. If she's having such back pain, she should have addressed that with her supervisor. That's the appropriate person to tell that to, not to a peer who won a prize. Right? She should talk to her supervisor about that and get in a medical, an ergonomic chair, get an ergonomic evaluation and a special chair to address her back pain. Or she should join a gym and start exercising to work on her back pain, because that's usually what it is, a weak core strength. Sometimes it's, if the person's older, you don't say how old she is. It could be some degenerative, spinal issue. But if she's young like you, it's most likely just, poor muscle tone. So you did the right thing. The only thing I would have done different if I were you is, if she asked in front of everybody if you would give it to her, try to put pressure on you like that. I would have said in front of everyone, if you have a medical problem like that, you really need to see your supervisor about it so they can get you one, get you your own chair. But this one's mine and I'm taking it home. And that's all you had to say. And then you would have shut her ass down. And it would have shut your other friends, the other coworkers down too, because she has an option to get another chair. It's not your job to solve her back problem. Okay. And if she had to say anything else, that's what I would have told her. Like, you keep harassing me about it, we both gonna go to HR, because I'll file a complaint and get you for harassment. I want it fair and square. I'm taking it home. It's mine. It's not yours. I'm never giving it to you. If you need one, figure out how to get it. It's not my job to help you. And that would have been that. People just so fucking entitled. Question number 13. This is a female, 20 to 34, from El Monte, California. Summary issue. My bitch ass sister is mad. Whoa, wait a minute. My bitch ass sister is mad because I'm refusing to pick up my niece anymore after finding out that she lied about working late. Deb, for the past 4 months, I've been picking up my sister's 7-year-old kid from school 2, maybe 3 times a week. My sister keeps saying her manager was scheduling mandatory late shifts and that she didn't have anybody else that could get there before school, after school care closed. Since I work from home, she assumed it was easier for me. It wasn't always easy, but I do love my niece. I didn't want her stuck without a ride. Picking her up usually meant leaving work early, driving about 25 minutes to the school, bringing her back to my house, feeding her dinner, and keeping her until my sisters come to get her about 8 or 9. I had to cancel plans a few times and move meetings around, but my sister always acted extremely grateful and said she hated needing so much help. But last Thursday, she texted me at noon saying someone had called out and she urgently needed me again. I had plans that evening, but I rearranged them because she made it sound like refusing could get her into trouble at work. Around 6 p.m., my niece asked if we could get ice cream, so we stopped at a shopping center near my apartment. That's where I saw my sister sitting outside a restaurant with 3 friends, drinking cocktails and having a good old time laughing. Busted. She looked shocked when she noticed us. At first, she claimed her shift had ended early, but one of her friends casually said they had been shopping together since around 2. My sister did admit that she had used me for pickup several times when she wasn't actually working because it was the only chance she got to have a life. She said being a single mom is exhausting and that I wouldn't understand. I told her I would no longer be her regular pickup person and that she needed to arrange after school care or speak to our parents. I'd still help during a real emergency, but I'm not rearranging my work and personal life based on stories that I can't trust. She got angry and said I was punishing my niece for her mistake. Of course she said that. She also has told our family that suddenly abandoned her after promising to help. Too bad you didn't take pictures of that. Like, take a video or pictures, then walk up on her. Always get evidence. That's my number one rule I started following probably about 20 years ago. When you see some fucked up shit, film it, take a picture of it, do whatever, so that you have evidence. My mom thinks that I should keep doing pickups, but set clearer rules because my niece loves spending time with me and has nothing to do with the lie. I love her too, but I feel like continuing would teach my sister that she can manipulate me as long as my niece is involved. That's right. So am I wrong or right for cutting off the regular pickups without giving my sister another chance? No, you're right. She done tore her draws. She did send her that story of the boy who cried wolf. That's what she did. So in the end, in case you never read that story as a kid, in the end of Blue, he was saying, "Oh, wolf, wolf," because he just thought it was funny to see everybody come running. Right? There's no wolf. He was a little sheep herder. No, there's no wolf. And then one time he said, "Wolf, wolf," and nobody came, and it was a real wolf. Wolf had just munched up on the sheet. And I think in one version of the story I read, they munched up on him too. The wolf munched on him. So, that's why you don't call wolf. You only call wolf when there's really a wolf. So in a situation like her, she called wolf and there was no wolf. So now she tore her drawers and that's just it. Nobody's going to come anymore. Same thing. Read that story to her. Send her a link to it. Let her see where she is and say, the wolf is you. So yeah, that's what I would do. And if your mother says that you should keep doing pickup, say no. You don't get to dictate my time. If you want her to have support and stuff, you back her up. That's y'all's. You all gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not doing it anymore. Unless short of a medical emergency, like there's bloodshed and shallow breathing involved. Don't call me. And that would be my rule. I wouldn't give a fuck. She could just figure it out. Question 14. This is a young man, 22 to 27, from Richmond, Virginia. Summary of issue. I am now refusing to buy groceries for my brother after he repeatedly used mine without asking. I'm 22 and I live with my older brother who's 25. We split rent, utilities, and household supplies like toilet paper and dish soap. But we each buy our own groceries because we eat different things and have different schedules. A couple of weeks ago, I came home from work and noticed some of my groceries were gone. My brother admitted that he used them because he hadn't had time to shop and said he'd replace them later. I told him I understood emergencies, but I appreciated if he'd asked first. He apologized and promised it wouldn't happen again. But the following weekend, I brought groceries for the week, including ingredients for dinner I planned to cook for a few friends. The very next day, I found out he used most of my chicken and the vegetables that I'd bought. He said he forgot to shop again and assumed I wouldn't mind because he planned to replace everything after work the next day. Unfortunately, that meant I had to cancel dinner with my friends because I didn't have enough ingredients and the grocery store I normally use was already closed. The next day, he did replace the groceries, but they weren't the same brands or quantities. He thought that was close enough. A few days later, while I was already at the grocery store, he asked if I could pick up a week's worth of groceries for him because he was working late. He said he'd pay me back. I told him no. I explained that after asking him twice not to use my stuff without asking, I wasn't interested in doing him a favor then. He ended up shopping at a convenience store after work and spent quite a bit more than he would have at the supermarket. Now he says I was being petty because I was already at the store. It would have taken me only a few extra minutes. A couple of our mutual friends also think I should have just picked everything up since he was going to reimburse me. I think it's reasonable not to do favors for someone who repeatedly ignored a simple boundary, but I'm wondering if I let my frustration get the better of me. What are your thoughts? You could have picked it up, but this is what you had to do. This is all you had to do. Tell him, I need you to Zelle or Cash App me how much money you want me to spend. That's all you had to do. That I pay you back later shit? No, motherfucker, you pay me now. I will spend your money and then I will Zelle or Cash App you back the difference. And you make sure you don't go over it. You spend only the amount that he sent. And that's how you should have handled that. In the future, if he eats your stuff, make sure that you understand everything. I mean, I'm so petty. I would put a price tag on all my shit. How much I pay for it that includes tax and a little extra for my gas or whatever. And put Post-its on your shit. If you eat this, you need to give me this amount. And that's how I would do it. Add $1 to it or something. That's you'll go back to the grocery store surcharge. So then that's like he won't feel like he won't have to starve or anything if he really hasn't gone to the store yet. But he already knows this is what it's going to cost you. That's how you could do that as well. The third option is you could get you a little mini refrigerator freezer thing and with a lock on it and keep all your shit in there. We used to have those at the dorm. People would put like bike padlocks and all kind of shit on their thing, so you can't open it. Like the little handles would be locked in there. So you could do that too. That's another option. Keep all your stuff separate from his. and a locked box with your pantry items. I mean, it's unfortunate that would have to come to that, but your brother sounds like he's raggedy. He just a dusty bum. So that's how, if I were you, that's how I would do it. Say, I'll be at the grocery store, or I tell him I'm going to the grocery store. You know, you want me to pick up some stuff for you? And he'd be like, yeah. Okay, tell me how much money you want me to spend. And then I'll spend it. And then text me a list. And then I'll do it. But other than that, you go do it yourself. And you better not eat my shit. And there you go. That's how you do it. What else, girl? You know they are lazy bum. Question 15. This guy's 18 to 21 from Kent in the UK. Suburb issue, how soon? Auntie, I'm so excited to have something to write to you about. Lots of students at my school, University of Kent, listen to your show. Oh, that's good. I mean, that's interesting. I need to know how soon, when meeting someone new and asking questions about compatibility, should one bring up having serious medical conditions? I don't know if I'm too hard on myself, but I have a few chronic conditions. Ulcerative colitis and interstitial cystitis, which are fancy names for bladder and colon inflammation that affect my everyday life and diet. I just think that because I've heard someone mention it, that someone might not want to be with me if I'm medically compromised, or that I don't deserve to find anyone because no one wants to deal with that. Because what if it gets worse when I get older? I don't know. My thoughts start to spiral. I also have bipolar disorder, not one I'd care to bring up too soon. But like the kids or no kids talk is normal to have early. What about medical issues? Is that not so important? What do you suggest? I suggest that you investigate, because these kind of ulcerative colitis and cystitis are influenced by what you eat and drink. So if you avoid the foods that cause flare-ups, you should be okay. And I don't know what those foods are exactly. I mean, I used to know when I worked as a trainer because I had some clients that had those problems, and shit, that was so long ago, I don't remember now. But whatever those things are, to reduce that inflammation, that's what you need to eat or not eat. Anything that's going to flare you up, don't eat that. Don't drink that. Anything that's going to help reduce the inflammation and the irritation, you need to eat and drink those things as much as possible. As far as mentioning it, the only time I would mention it is to say you're gonna go somewhere and what's on the menu is something that you know is going to cause you a flare up. Then you would say to that person, due to a medical condition I have, I can't eat that. It'll cause a flare up. Now, do you need to tell them exactly what the condition is? No, you don't. Most likely they won't know what it is anyway. And second is they won't care. You just tell them why you're not going to eat it. I have a medical condition. And that should be good enough. You don't need to go into details and tell everybody everything that's going on with your whole body. That's too much information. The bipolar disorder, I'm hoping that you are on medication for that. If you get serious with somebody and you ready to have kids, they would need to know that. But before then, you just going on a date. They don't need to know that. Don't need to know that. You just met that person. Question 16. This is a female, 18 to 21 from Orlando, Florida. Summary of issue. I'm currently pregnant and I feel like my boyfriend is being selfish. That happens a lot. I feel a little embarrassed typing this out, but here goes. I'm 20 years old and recently found out that I'm pregnant for the first time. I am 8 weeks along and I've been together for almost 3 years. The drama is that my boyfriend / baby daddy is 19 and has gotten food at least twice without asking me if I wanted anything. I know this sounds silly, but he went out of his way to hide it from me the first time, even though he got his little brother something too. And I only found out because I happened to see the bag on the table and asked whose it was because I was curious. Then he started apologizing, saying it was his, and he didn't intend for me to see the bag. Wow. The second time, he spent $20 on Wendy's for himself before picking me up and didn't ask if I wanted anything at all. If he goes to the store, he doesn't ask if I want anything. He only buys things for himself and his brother. I know I sound entitled and I'm not angry when these things happen. I'm just hurt because it feels like he doesn't really care. And I wouldn't care at all usually, but his pregnancy has been very hard for me. And I haven't been able to really eat at all to the point of having to go to the ER where my ketones were more than 160 and my blood sugar was at 65 due to lack of appetite and water aversion. I ready to have some sense talked into me though, because I feel like I'm just angry, no, hangry and hormonal, and he's not obligated to buy things for me, especially because funds are tight. Sorry if this is bothersome to read. What should I do about this attitude, or am I in the wrong? No, you're not in the wrong. He is definitely very selfish, and I'm wondering why you would choose to have a child with someone like this. It also sounds like your body is not really, you're not really in a state to be having a pregnancy at 20. You got, some weird stuff going on here. You say you're in Florida. I think that's one of the states where you cannot get a termination, but maybe you need to get on a plane, a boat, a train, a car, go to some place where you can get you one and get rid of it. Why do I say that? Because what's about to happen is you're about to have a baby with somebody who's a selfish, self-centered clown, and you're going to be on your own, completely on your own. You're going to be looking for some support and assistance from him. It's not going to happen. At 20, I don't think you're prepared mentally, definitely not financially, to handle such a burden, not by yourself. So you need to rethink this pregnancy, then get your birth control together, girlfriend, and don't let this happen again. But yeah, you look at where you can go to get a termination, and then you go there. And don't tell nobody. You just go handle your business and then go back. Question 17. This is a male, 22 to 27, living in Copenhagen, Denmark. Summary of the issue. Was I wrong for rejecting a girl because of her past and the clothes that she wears? I'm a 22-year-old New York exchange student living here in Denmark. I'm learning the language, but it's going to take some more time. I came here a few months ago to further my math degree, and I absolutely love it here, especially the people, the culture, and my friends and my classmates. One of my biggest hobbies is sports. I train judo, wrestling, and kickboxing, and also lift weights. Oh, you must be buff. I really enjoy training, and I train once or twice a day, except on my rest day. I usually lift weights at a gym, but I also love training outside. So whenever the weather's good, I go to a calisthenics park near the university. My friend and I trained there together, and there were these two girls there, both said they were 19, who came over to talk to us. We often train at the same time, so we started talking regularly and hanging out after training. They were both absolutely gorgeous, and both of them seemed to like us. I wasn't interested in the girl who liked me, although I did enjoy talking to her. My friend and the other girl started dating. Eventually, the girl who liked me asked me out, but I told her I wasn't interested. She was sad and asked me why. I told her that I just didn't think we would be a good match, and that was that. The following week, I was in class with my friend. There's a girl in my class who I've been talking to a lot, but only in a platonic way. I don't know that she liked me, but she did ask me out. I politely declined again and told her I didn't think we'd be a good match. This girl was gorgeous too, and I don't use that term lightly. After class, my friend asked me why I had rejected both girls, and I gave him the same reason. I told him it was because both girls dressed too open for my taste. I prefer a partner who dresses more like me, covering themselves. They also had both talked about their past and dating history, which wasn't something I found at all attractive. They had lots of previous boyfriends and hookups. Oh, why do girls want to talk to me about that? That is so stupid. Just dumb. Oh my God, shut the hell up. My friend laughed and said, yeah, good thing you didn't say that out loud. Girls here would get furious over standards like that. I knew that. This is why I kept my mouth shut. But that made me wonder about my own standards and values. So I'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions. I come from a conservative home. My parents are immigrants. I don't want to bring religion into it, but that's basically why I am the way I am. I also want to say that I told myself to the same standards. I don't want to force my personal beliefs on anyone. I respect people's personal choices. I don't want to take away women's freedom to make their own decisions. But neither do I think women should be forced to live by my rules. I don't think a woman is, or any human, its value is determined by my preferences. I'm also not a person that hates women who dress a certain way. I also don't slut shame women who sleep around or have boyfriends, etc. That's their choice. Also, me not fitting in Danish culture doesn't mean I don't like the Danish. It also doesn't mean I hate or look down on the culture or its people. In case you're wondering, the first girl was wearing like tight leggings or these very, very tiny tight gym shorts with a t-shirt or sports bra. The other girls were wearing crop tops and skin tight pants or a super short skirt with a tight shirt showing her tummy, stuff like that. Okay. So you want a girl who's going to wear like a sundress or, a skirt and a t-shirt, tank top or something. And, not be showing half her ass, not be showing, danger of showing the underside of her tatas or her nipples and all this kind of stuff. And I don't blame you. I'm the same way. I don't think all that is necessary. I feel like if a girl feels like she has to dress like that to get a man's attention, then she gonna have to be dressing like a hooker to keep it. And before people say it, like, when I was growing up, this is how hookers dress. The prostitutes dress like this. Now it's become mainstream attire, but I'm not with it. I don't think a little girl should be doing that. I don't think, I saw a lady, she had her daughter, the little girl could have been any older than maybe 12, 13. And they was in the grocery store, little skinny girl. She didn't have no shape yet, just straight up and down and flat chested. And she had on these little teeny tiny booty shorts with half her cheeks hanging out. And the mom was walking around with the daughter. My father would have hit the roof if I even, at this age, tried to go out the house walking around looking like that. It's just certain things, and with all these child predators and stuff, why would you put your little girl's body on display like that? All these men in the store was leering at her. It was just terrible. And the little girl, like I said, she was young. She didn't even have any boobs yet. But half her ass was hanging out. I was like, okay, lady, you just doing the absolute most here. But plus, what you have to think about too is, what a lot of these girls don't think about is, I don't know how it is I've never been to where did you say you were? Where did you say it was? Oh, Copenhagen. I've never been there. So I don't know what the culture is like there. So I'm not saying that, but I do know, like, in Black culture, we have to be cognizant of how we dress because of stupid men. Your dude will end up stabbed or shot trying to protect you from somebody else. And you don't even have to be dressed like this, but if dressed like this, like in a club or something, is going to just invite drama. But, you guys just have just some nice, little back out dress or something on. And it's already bad enough with that. So Black women are very aware of how we carry ourselves and the drama that it might bring to our dude. Right. Right. You know what I mean? We don't want, we want our dude to be alive and uninjured and for us to both go home together. And there's so many people that are weird and idiots and disrespectful out there, so ladies, this is the kind of thing, I mean, like I said, I can't talk about other culture, but I know what happens in the Black culture, and that's not something that we like to do because of the fact that we know clowns are going to always bring some drama. And if you and your dude are out by yourself, not out, you don't have no buddies in the spot that could kind of help him out if something goes down, it's going to be a problem. And the best way to prevent problems is to dress in a sophisticated, sexy way, not in a hoe way. Okay? Because these little young dudes, especially your age group, little 22 to 27, 8 dudes, that's just a clown waiting, just the drama waiting to happen. It's just unbelievable. So I'm assuming, you talk about your religion, but you don't say what, I'm assuming that you're Muslim and because you use the term covered. I mean, maybe not like burqa covered, but don't need to be showing everything either. There's a happy medium. A lot of mothers don't teach their daughters that, That's right. I am the prize. Question number 18. This is a male 18 to 21 from Elgin, Illinois. Sorry, issue. I bit a little boy who bit me and my sister, and his mom got pissed. Deb, I'm 17, almost 18, and I was at the park with my little sister, who is 7. She was having a fun time when a kid who's about 8 bit my sister. I gave him the business and pointed at him so he knew I was talking to him. This kid pulled a Abby Lee Miller and bit my fucking finger. So I grabbed that brat's arm and bit his arm. Not hard, but he felt it. His mother screamed at me, and I was a bit peckish, and he bit my sister first. So it's fair. She says I'm old enough to know better and pulls the little shit away. My sister was so upset I took her to get ice cream. Was I in the wrong? Nope. You were exactly in the right. And he's lucky that all he did was get bit. You know what I mean? That's all. He lucky that's all I had to do to my little cousin. This little fucker, he was 3 or 4 years. I mean, big, way too big. And he had been like, he had a reputation, the whole family, since he was like 2. When he first started really getting his whole row of teeth of biting people. And so I remember I was like, I think about 12, 13 maybe. And we were at my grandparents' house and I was sitting on the couch watching TV. And so I had shorts on. So my, little thigh was exposed. So he came over. You know how little kids would stand between your knees. And so he was standing there. And then he just leaned down and bit, like tried to bite a chunk out of my thigh. I grabbed that little fucker's arm and I tried to bite my teeth through to the other side. And he was screaming. And then my auntie come running out talking about, you done bit my child. I said, he bit me first. I'm showing the wound on my thigh. He bit me first. He deserved to get that. And he kept saying, it hurt, it hurt, it hurt. I'm like, you little fucker. It's like you didn't think it hurt anybody else. You thought it was good fun. Now that then he finally experienced it himself, he realized it hurt. You know what? He didn't bite nobody else anymore after that. That's the same cousin when he was older. He was about, I was probably about 15 then. And he was a little older. And he did something I didn't like. I can't remember what it was. Something he did and he shouldn't have done. And I bopped him on the head with a metal garbage can top. And the blood was everywhere. And so that same auntie was like, oh my God, you tried to kill my child. I'm like, oh, I tried to kill him. I would have hit him 2 or 3 more times. I only hit him once. Good grief, leave me alone. But yeah, he went down with blood everywhere. But after that, he left me alone after that. So it took him 2 times to get it right. But he finally understood, don't mess with her. She crazy. She's crazy. Now they have garbage cans have plastic tops. So you can't get that resounding clunk sound like I got. Yes. You're right. She said, I have to put this on the screen. Point being, living in an entitlement fantasy land eventually comes to an end. Yep. So let's move on. Question 19. This young man is 28 to 34 out of Dallas. Same issue. My brother has slept with every girlfriend I had for a decade before I went no contact, and now my parents want me to reconnect with him. I'm a 35-year-old mixed race male. My dad is black and my mom is white, who went no contact with my brother. He's a year younger, more than 10 years ago, because he had slept with every girlfriend I had. This always happened when I was still dating him too. 2 of them I was very serious about and avoided bringing them home because of the history with girlfriends and my brother and even those girls he slept with. Deb, every time I was reminded by different extended family members that we were siblings and that I shouldn't hate him forever for being young and dumb. He'd apologize sometimes. A few times I refused to talk to him for a while after, and he'd act genuinely apologetic, but he kept doing it again. The last time I went no contact, he actually dated her for a while, and when he realized I wasn't coming back around as fast as I had before, he apologized dozens of times and kept reaching out, but I muted him. I muted, then blocked him and refused to be where he would be. My parents told me they would accept my response because they knew he had hurt me and done me wrong, but they asked me not to hate him as much as I did. I told them I would keep that hate from them, but I wouldn't promise to keep feeling that way about him. So after a couple of years, things between my parents and I, were fractured. My brother got involved in a car accident and he sustained some serious but not life-threatening injuries. My parents called to tell me and they wanted me at the hospital with the rest of the family. I refused. I told them I did not want to see his ass and they said it could be serious. At the time, I was honest and it still holds true. And I said, I didn't care. They couldn't come to terms with me feeling that way. You a savage. Even though he wasn't in danger from the injuries, they said it haunted them that I'd be so hateful to my own brother. I held back from admitting I thought worse before. In time, I worked on rebuilding trust and therapy for myself. I met my wife and married her, and now we have a family. My brother has no part of it, and I've never let up on being no contact. My brother's tried to apologize several times since, and I always tell people he sends with letters that I'm not interested in his apologies. He settled down with someone, and he's now a dad. But his baby was born very early. It's very sick, and things are uncertain for them right now. I've heard this from family and friends. There's some fundraising going on. I read their story through that. Since all this started, I've been receiving extra pressure from my mom's extended family and my parents to reconcile with him. My parents said there's no better time to reconnect because if his baby dies, having his brother will be everything. I told him I was not the person to do it, and I did not have the love or care for him to support him. They told me to let go of the past and to let go of childish behavior and be there for my brother during the worst time of his life. My dad's side of the family says, fuck him. The dad is the black side. And that's somehow I knew that was going to happen. I really don't want to. I still hate his guts. I have nothing kind to say about him, but the pressure's getting to me somewhat. My wife supports me either way, and she told me that I need to do what feels right for me and not for him or them. I'd like to hear your advice before I make my final decision, which is heavily leading towards continuing with my boundaries and staying no contact. What should I do? I respect you so much, Auntie, and will listen to you. Oh boy, this is heavy. Where's my pearls? I need to clutch some. Let me get your letter back over here. You wrote a lot, but I guess it was necessary because it was kind of set the tone. Okay, so you're 35 now. Your brother's younger, but you say a year younger, so he's 34. And he slept with every girlfriend. Okay, but what you got to understand is unless he had sexually assaulted them, they slept with him too. So even though you were serious of it, and even though it is definitely a violation of sibling loyalty, the fact that the girls did it shows that they weren't quite as loyal as you might have hoped. But still, I understand where you're coming from, because that shouldn't even come up. It shouldn't even have been something that was tested, because he wasn't even supposed to be trying to make the moves on a woman that you're dating, right? So we're in agreement with that. As far as your parents go, you need to just tell them very clearly and very I want you to stop asking me about forgiving him. It's never going to happen. I hate his fucking guts. He is the worst kind of person in the world. Somebody who would be disloyal and stab his own brother in the back, not just once, but numerous times over the years. And you still think that he deserves to have me in his life? Fuck that motherfucker. You say that to him. You better pull out all your black side. Just lay it out there. It's like, I really don't give a fuck if he lives or dies. Too bad the car didn't run over him and kill him on the spot. He's just up there wasting resources. You talk to them like that, they'll understand and they'll leave you alone. They'll be so shocked, so appalled, and probably somewhat disgusted. That's okay, because they weren't disgusted with what he did. So why would she be disgusted that you drew a line and in the sand and you ain't letting nobody cross it? And that's what you say to them and to anybody else who wants to infringe on your peace. Peace of mind, no matter how you get it, there's nothing like it. Your loyalty is to your wife and your kids, not to your parents who backing this boy's total mistreatment and disrespect of you. They don't really seem to care about how that impacted you. They just keep focusing on him. So it's obvious who's the favorite child in your family. So I'm in full agreement with you. You pull out your black side and go to work and tell them in no uncertain language, everybody, where to go, how fast to get there, and what they need to go ride on to get there. What? He bit 300 kids? Damn. Yes, they're talking about the biting thing. That's it. That's how he learned. This is really messed up. My heart kind of hurts for you, because siblings, there's nothing like a really good sibling relationship. You didn't get to have that. And hopefully, your kids will have a better relationship with each other and grow up, respecting and treating each other well. It's really sad that you didn't get to have that experience, but I respect your choice. I think you got to do what's going to work for you and your family, and don't you worry about them at all. You do what I told you. Cuss them all out. Go for it. Got my total support. If you need some language, write me back. Question number 20. This is a female, 22 to 27, out of the UK. Summary of issue. How do I handle my anger toward my ex? Can you please help me? I'm a 25-year-old young lady. 7 months ago, my boyfriend broke up with me because his mom didn't like me, because my uncle drinks and my great-grandmother, about 50 to 60 years ago, had several lovers. How would she know that? I live in a small town, and my ex's grandfather was the mayor, so his family thinks they belong to some sort of elite class. The problem is they aren't perfect either. They don't speak with their maternal uncle, nor with the maternal uncle-in-law, and they have some troubled relatives. Despite this, they perceive themselves as a respectable family. His mom judged me terribly, saying that she felt sick at the thought of her son being with me. Wow. We were together for about a year, plus 2 years of just friendship. And she didn't have anything to say at first. She started hating me when some of her son's friends graduated, My ex is behind on his exam with 10 subjects left to pass. He is not happy to attend university, but he does it because he's forced by his parents. His father, however, told him that if he shouldn't manage to graduate and pass his exams, he would give him a recommendation. From that moment on, I started to be hated. His sister stopped greeting me, even though at the graduation party, one of his friends, okay, I don't need to know all that. His sister is a 27-year-old girl behind on her exams as well for her bachelor's, who's never had a boyfriend. I think she hasn't even had her first kiss. She's never worked a day in her life. I'm just specifying it to give an idea of her personage. Plus, my ex's mom is friends with the mom of my elementary school bully with whom she spoke back. Okay, you're just going into some stray, don't have nothing to do with the point here. Now we'll talk about myself. Well, fucking finally, I have always worked. I studied at the university and have 3 subjects left to graduate. I help stray animals. I donate blood. I always try to be a good person. I don't understand what I did to deserve this treatment because you talk too much about miscellaneous stray shit. Don't have nothing to do with nothing. I'm sure that gets on everybody's nerves like it just annoyed the fuck out of me. It makes me furious to have given my time to my ex, to have trusted him, to have wasted years of my life with him. I hate him. I hate him. I just don't know how to handle this anger. I wish they suffered half as much as I suffered. I had to do 6 months of psychotherapy to deal with this garbage. Judged, labeled, excluded, and rejected on the basis of nothing by the family of an ugly rat. He's useless. How can I manage this uncontrollable anger? I don't think I have ever felt so much hate towards anyone in my whole life. You are one of them people that feel like because you do good things that you deserve everything that you want. Fuck out of here with that. These people don't want to be bothered with you, and you knew that from like the get-go. Okay, you was friends, and then soon as something happened, then you started to be hated. But it doesn't sound like you ever was really welcome there because they always saw themselves as better than you, and you knew that. You said they see you as some sort of elite class, which you are not. So that means you already knew that you weren't really fitting in with this group of people. Why did you persist on trying to force the issue? When you see that people present themselves as being too good for you, you never stay in a situation like that. That's just foolish. They're supposed to, even if they are, they're supposed to welcome you in and embrace you for what you do offer, right? You might not have money, but you have other things, and they appreciate those things. But these people don't sound like they ever appreciate anything about you because they see themselves as being relatives of the mayor of some little raggedy small town in the UK. You know, you've always worked, okay, that's what young adults should do. You study in university, that's what young adults should do. You have only 3 subjects yes to graduate, okay. I help stray animals, that's great. You donate blood, okay. I always try to be a good person, that's good. That's a good value to have. I don't understand what I did deserve it. You didn't, why would you think you deserve it? You just did it because you stayed too long in a situation that wasn't for you. This is what it takes to be smart. You're educated, but you don't have any common sense. When you look around you and you interacting with some people and they act like they're better than you deuce out on that situation. You don't try to force them to accept you. You never do that. You go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. Okay, that's a very common phrase in the Black community. You go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. You were tolerated and you insisted on staying there. So I don't know what to tell you. You don't do that to yourself again. But let this go. Don't be mad at nobody. They don't care if you're mad. And being mad is pointless. It's just basically just wasting good time, wasting energy. It's not helping you. Let it go. It's a situation. He's your ex. I mean, he don't give a shit if you're mad. Nobody cares that you're mad. Not even me. So get over it. Let's move on from this. If you need some therapy, get you some. You're too old for this. You're 27 years old. You 20, whatever age you are. You're too old for this. Come on now. Question 21. Yeah. Well, Kiki say you butt her because you wasted your time. But that was your choice. Because like I'm telling you, I don't know, I met this dude. Okay. I go there to his house, right? And her kids busted out. So we had this dinner party, right? And so she put like they had a formal dining room. And she put, how to have all the different forks and they had dessert forks and all the stuff. Okay, my mother had taught me all of that stuff about, how you formal place settings. I had no use for it up until this moment. So my mom had taught me all this stuff. And I was like, oh, look at this. I know, I knew what everything was, the finger washing with the lemon in it and all this little stuff. So the mother because this is like they were like in Jack and Jill, and her husband was like this big time real estate dude or something. And, I mean, the little son, I mean, we just was high school students together. I mean, it was no big deal. So he had invited me over to his house for dinner. So I went. I mean, whatever. So her kids come in, and everybody's sitting at the table, and her kids are looking at all the stuff, right? They busted her out. They're like, Mom, what do I have? Why you have all these different forks and stuff on the table? What is all of this? They didn't even know what it was. I did. So I reached and I get the correct things, but it was like a test. She was trying to show me, because I grew up in the Fillmore district of San Francisco, that I'm just a little hood rat and that I don't know anything. That's what she was trying to make me feel, like I was lesser. It didn't work. Of course it didn't work. Even if I didn't know, I still wouldn't work, but it didn't work because I did know. And she was astonished, but I never fucked with that kid again. And the reason why, and at the time I was like 15, 16 years old, but even I knew then that you don't try to force yourself in these situations. If somebody's judging you like that, and they've already determined what your worth is, what you value is, without even asking you. I hadn't talked to this woman. That was my first time really meeting her. And so she'd already made up her mind that I wasn't worthy to be with her son, which I was not trying to do anyway. I mean, I don't know what conversation they had. I didn't try to be with him. I mean, I just went because we were friends. And so, but she'd already made up her mind that that was my value, that was my worth. I did not ever put myself in a situation like that, because you're not going to try to make me feel bad about who I am. My parents are very hardworking people. My dad didn't have much education, but there was nobody who was more intelligent than that man or harder working than him. So I was never going to let anybody, make me feel bad about my family and my upbringing. So I thought that was very interesting. And I was only 16. So here you are in your 20s. How come you don't get that? Come on now. You don't never go nowhere when nobody's trying to judge you like that and condemn you and determine what your worth and value is. And you just stay there. And then you're going to be mad about it years later because they didn't see you as being worthy. Who gives a fuck what they think? Who told them they could think anyway? Come on now. You need to move on from this. Question 21. This young man is 20 to 34 out of Montreal, Canada. Summary of issue: was I rude for locking my nephew out of my room with collectibles inside? I live alone. 2 weeks ago, my family came over for dinner. My parents, my brother, his wife, and their kid, who's 11. I have a separate room where I keep my Lego sets, some Funko figures, I don't know what that is, and a couple of other collectibles. To some people, it's just plastic. But some of these items are super expensive. Some are already discounted. I think he means discontinued, not discounted. And I've been collecting them for years. My nephew caught a glimpse of the room out of the corner of his eye and asked me to take a look. I said, sure, but only with me after dinner. The reason is simple. He's not careful and he doesn't listen to what adults say. Even though I had explicitly ordered him not to, he had previously opened one of my Funko boxes at my house. My brother said at the time that he didn't know any better and was simply interested. So I locked the room, and then I went back to the table. I think my nephew saw that because he got quieter, but he didn't say anything. After dinner, I took him to the room myself. I showed him figures in my collection. Also gave him a brand new Funko figure that I had just purchased, but hadn't had a chance to store. I believe that everything went well. The next day, my brother called and made a huge scene. He said that I embarrassed his son by closing the door, that I didn't trust a youngster who was almost grown up, and that I was more concerned about plastic than the boy's mental health. I told him I didn't forbid him from looking at it. I just wanted to be there because these are things in my house, and we had a precedent in the past. Now my brother says I turned an ordinary kid into a criminal, and our relations are a bit tense. Was I wrong for locking the door? No, you were not. Because what you have to do in a situation like this is ask your brother, okay, if he had damaged my stuff and this thing has a street value of $400 or $500, would you be willing to pay for it? And see what your brother says. Well, no, it's just, but see, that's why I locked my door. That's all you have to do. Just set him up. That's easy. He would walk right into that without, because he's going to say no. And he's going to say, well, it's just plastic. Like he just said here, just plastic. Say no. Yeah, but that's the value of the plastic. And so you wouldn't be willing to reimburse me. That's why I locked the door. And every time you come over here, that's what's going to happen. It's going to stay locked. So if you don't like that, then don't come over here. That's the instant solution to your little issues and concerns. Don't come in. Whatever. So that's how I always do people like that. You have something that's important to you. I don't care what it is. It could be a marble collection. If it's important to you and you know somebody's going to break it, damage it, steal it, and you find a way to protect it, then you do what you need to do for yourself. Don't worry about them. Lock your door every time they even think about coming over. Question number 22. This young lady is 18 to 21 from Louisville, Kentucky. Same issue. My boyfriend claims that he never has any money. Oh, you getting pimped. P-I-M-P. So my boyfriend and I, we're 19 and 20, have been together for a little over 2.5 years. Long story short, we argued a lot last summer, and he ended up leaving me for another girl for about 2 weeks before he regretted it and tried to get back together. Obviously, it was cheating as he was talking to her while we were together and wanted to break up to, quote, fix our relationship while he got with her. Yeah, you think he's slick. I refused to be with him for months until we ended up getting back together sometime in January, February this year. He was really sweet, buying me stuff, etc., etc. Fast forward to this summer, and he's being a dick again like before. He has anger issues and calls me a B. Oh, a racial slur, stuff like that. And will apologize after and say that I antagonized him. And you still with him? He refuses to take me out on dates like to the movies and whatnot. I pretty much always pay for our dates. I asked him, like, hey, can you pay for the movies this time? And he says he never has money. Then he dropped $500 on a bike rack for his car or an exhaust for his car. It's always car shit for $300 or more. And he'll brag about it and show it to me. And I get upset because he just told me that he didn't have $20 for the movies. Well, you were stupid and you fell for it. Am I wrong to be upset? Yes. He's the first guy I've slept with, which is why it's difficult for me to leave him. No. We'll talk about that in a minute. I've tried, and it's a bit more complicated than what I'm willing to share. He gets mad at me when I'm upset over it and thinks I just want his money, which is not the case, or I would have left a long time ago. I always pay for everything. What should I do? Stop letting yourself be pimped. You are what they call in the world of pimpdom, the bottom bitch. Okay? This man don't want you. He don't have no kind of respect for you at all. You are just being ridiculous. Ridiculous. Okay, somebody don't want to take, okay, he calls you horrible names, calls you a bitch, a racial slur. I can only imagine what that would be. And all the stuff like that, when they apologize, claiming that you antagonize him, and you stay. You already escaped one time. He dumped you to go with somebody else. That's it. You should have never took him back. You don't go back to the past. You don't pick up used garbage. You keep it it stays in the garbage bin where it belongs because it's trash. You don't pick up trash and bring it back in the house. That's what you did. That's why shit's stinking now and all rotten and stuff. You picked up garbage and you brought it back into your house for some unknown reason. Okay, so now, he don't want to pay $20 for a movie. He's not trying to do shit for you. You're just being used for coochie and whatever else you give him. Fun times out and stuff. You don't have to pay for his own drinks. Girl, if you don't get rid of this fool, I don't know what else to tell you. And as far as this thing, about him being the first guy you slept with, let me explain something to you on that, because a lot of girls use that, excuse. That don't mean shit. The first is the first, and the last is the last, and everything in between is usually not really memorable. And just because it's the first, that don't mean it's going to be the best. It's usually not. Like 99% of the time, it's not. So that's a mistake that you're making. You think because, this guy slept with you this one time, that you owe him something, or you bonded him forever, or some twisted shit is going on in your mind. But that's why he's dogging you, because he knows that you believe that stupid shit. What you need to do is go and immediately find you somebody else to sleep with. You need to break that spell. That's what you need to do. Once you do that and you find out that other men are way better in bed than him, you'll be like, oh, what was I holding on to? I was out of my mind. And then you'll be fine. Because you see, from Dad's way of thinking, there's in a woman's life, I don't care if you slept with 20 men or 200 men. There's only going to be really 3 that you remember. Everybody's going to remember their first time. Okay, it might fade with time, but you remember the first time, because it was the first. You remember the most recent time because it's the last. It's the most recent, that could have been yesterday, this morning, 2 hours ago, whatever. You remember that because it's the most recent in your mind. And then you will never, ever forget the guy who was the best lover that you ever had. He will stay at the top of your memory forever. He might get replayed. I mean, it might be a new best, but you will always remember the best one. So it's gonna be three. It'll be three dudes that you remember that for the rest of your life. That's it. So the first is just the first. It don't mean it's the only. It don't mean the best. Don't mean the greatest. It don't mean none of that. It just mean the first. So you got the narcissism. Let's move on now. Okay. Got many more men to explore. He ain't shit. Get rid of this fool. Question number 23. This is a male, 28 to 34 out of Fresno. Oh, that's in here in California, in case you didn't know. Third issue. How do you decide whether to stay friends with someone who cheats on their partner? Ooh. Personally, I wouldn't cheat because it goes against my values and integrity. But I'm curious to know what you and the viewers think. I guess my question is, do you have friends who cheat on their partners, and does it affect how you see them? This never really bothered me before because I always thought, hey, that's their relationship, not mine. But I recently had a close friend betray me, and it made me notice something. The friends I have who don't cheat were much more objective about the situation. They were quick to say he was clearly in the wrong. The friends who do cheat seem much more willing to excuse or downplay what happened. Also, the friend who betrayed me also cheats on his spouse. I've already decided that I'm no longer going to be friends with that guy who betrayed me, but it's now made me question my other friendships as well. If someone is comfortable betraying their partner, should I also question whether they betray me? That is a fair question. And when something serious happens, can I trust them to tell me what's actually right and wrong? Or are they more likely to justify bad behavior because they do similar things themselves? Auntie, do you think I am overthinking this? Or have you noticed something similar? Have you ever been friends with people who cheat? Or things okay between y'all? Well, this is such a multifaceted question. I agree with you that people who cheat and are okay with it, that's their mentality, that's their value system. It's, it's their stance. For them, there's always that loophole. They always they carve out a space for themselves to not be a person of integrity. Because you make a promise, you're supposed to keep it. But they always have a loophole. Well, there's always a reason why some excuse they're going to give. Now, would they do the same thing to you? Most likely. It won't be cheating, of course, but it's going to be some other kind of way where they stab you in the back. Or they're not there for you. There's some manipulation going on, some corner cutting, some kind of deception, because that's their value system. That's who they are as a person. Now, that's not what I found out. I found that out from my own cousin who tried to get me involved in covering for her while she was cheating on her husband. She claimed that she was at my house. She called me to tell me, if he calls you looking for me, tell him that, I went to the store or something, and then call and tell me. I'm like, why would I do that when he probably already called your phone? I mean, I'm trying to figure this out. How is this supposed to work? You should just tell him that, I'm there, I'm asleep or something. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do that. If he asks me if you're here at my house, I'm going to tell him no. Oh, why are you going to do that, cousin? I said, because don't get me involved in your bullshit. The guy had been nothing but nice and respectful to me and my kid. You know what I mean? He used to fix my car for free after my husband died. I didn't have no money. He fixed my car for me. And so he'd been nothing but very nice and supportive and sweet to me and my kid in our time of need. Why would I violate that man's trust and respect and treat him that way? That's not who I am as a person. I'm not covering for your funky trifling ass. You want to treat your husband like a trick, that you go ahead and do that. But don't ask me to participate in the bullshit. I'm not doing that. So I straight told him, no, I'm not going to do it. Luckily, he didn't call, but had he called, I would say, no, that bitch is not here. And she told me to lie and say if she called and just tell you that she was here, but I told her I wasn't going to do it. I would have spilled all the beans, all of them, every single bean. But luckily, he didn't call, and so that was that. But that's how I feel. There's people who have integrity. Like they make a promise, they keep it. They give you their word, it's their bond. If they say they're going to be there, they're going to be there. They say they're going to do you this favor, they're going to do it. They say, I'll be there to help you move, they're going to show up. These are the people that you can count on and that are people of honor. They have character, they respect. The people who would lie to get married, they're married. It's a vow they've taken under God and a law, right? And they don't give a shit. They got kids, they got their family and stuff that's gonna know all this funky shit went down. They don't give a shit. They just thinking about themselves. So when you have a person like that, and they would treat the person that they supposedly love more than anybody in this world that way, please don't think that you any better. You just a friend. Pick your friends carefully. Be careful about who you let in your circle, because those people have influence over you, whether you want to admit it or not. And their lack of integrity will at any point trickle down and affect you and your household. So yeah, people like, I don't let them into my life anymore. That cousin I'm talking about, I don't associate with her anymore. Question number 24. This is a male 20 to 34 out of Montreal, Canada. Same issue. Am I wrong for refusing to attend my childhood best friend's destination wedding after they uninvited my wife? My best friend from childhood is getting married. He and his fiance have been together about 7 years and planned a destination wedding. They wanted a smaller, more intimate wedding and decided to combine the bachelor and bachelorette parties into a week-long trip to the Caribbean. About a year ago, I was told about the wedding and was asked to attend. I was specifically told that both my wife and I were invited. The only thing we would need to pay for was our airfare. Airfare from, where did you say you were? Ooh, from Canada to the Caribbean. Ooh, woo. Over the last year, there was multiple conversations confirming that both my wife and I would be attending. Based on that, we requested and received PTO from work. We bought our plane tickets and started preparing for the trip. We bought clothes and other things that we would need for a week-long destination wedding out of the country. About a month and a half before the wedding, my friend told me that there was no longer space for my wife. Apparently, she had been cut from the guest list and there was only room for me. He also mentioned that numerous other guests were upset. Some people had to pay for their own accommodations elsewhere if they wanted to attend, after previously being told that they would be covered, and some guests had their invitation revoked entirely because they were over capacity. I was honestly shocked. I told him that if my wife couldn't attend, then I wouldn't be attending either. I asked him what happened and why this occurred. I wanted an honest explanation. His response was basically that they didn't realize they had a capacity issue until invitations were sent out. I asked how could that happen if they already knew their venue capacity beforehand? He refused to answer directly and kept saying that this wasn't about the guests because it's their wedding. You think I believe that? I told him that while it's absolutely their wedding and their choice, they had set clear expectations a year in advance and repeatedly confirmed those expectations. Now, after people had spent money, used PTO, and made plans, they were changing things and expecting everybody to be okay with it. He and his fiance have taken zero responsibility for the situation and instead blamed the guests for overreacting. He also told me that I was the only one making a big deal about not being able to bring my wife. Deb, to be clear, I never demanded that they invited her. I simply told her that if my wife wasn't welcome, I wouldn't be coming either. Do you think I'm wrong to be angry about this and for refusing to go to the wedding? What do you think my next step should be? Well, I don't know how close it is, but you guys can still go anyway if you have the money to get some kind of accommodations. You already got the clothes, you already got the tickets. I mean, why not go? Just go anyway. Just don't affiliate with them. Make it like a second honeymoon or something. You all the way, airfare from all the way from Canada to the Caribbean, that's a long flight, and that's going to be, that's a lot of money. Y'all must be balling, because I would say, oh, no, I can't possibly. But that's what I would suggest that you do. Don't worry about them. Just, contact a travel agent or go online to one of them websites where you get discounted, rooms and stuff, and find a spot, because you won't really want to be in the room that much anyway. You'll be out and about seeing stuff. And just book you a hotel, cheap hotel or bed breakfast or some little spot. You don't need anything fancy. And then y'all go. Have a good time. Just the two of you. And you probably all meet other couples you can have dinner with and lunch with and play tennis with and all that kind of stuff. You always meet people when you go on vacation. So I wouldn't even really worry about that too much. But this is not, I have a sneaky, I'm telling you what snuck into my mind. There's somebody that they want to introduce you to. Probably one of the bride's friends or bridesmaids or something saw you and think that you're cute and wants to have an opportunity to get at you. That's why they want you there and not your wife. In a foreign country, thousands of miles away. No, that's some bullshit. I'm glad you had enough sense as a husband to not even say, oh, I'm going to ask my wife. You just shut the shit down immediately. Good job. That's how you be married. You're a team. You're not going to separate her, put it on her to defend the marriage. You defend your marriage and your wife. Good job. Question number 25. This young lady's 28 to 34 from Memphis, Tennessee. Summary of issue. My sister is pissed after I told her I'm not hosting the 4th of July barbecue again this year after what happened last time. Last 4th of July, I hosted my sister. My sister showed up 3 hours late with eight uninvited guests plus her 3 kids. So wait, sister, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh my God, that's so many people. So I had to rebuy food twice to cover everybody. This year, she wants me to host again like nothing happened. She says I'm punishing her kids by saying no. I say I'm done being taken advantage of every year. Do you think I handled this correctly? Well, what you could have done, let me see. I'll tell you how I would have done it. She showed up 3 hours late with 8 uninvited guests plus her kids. I would have said, all the food's gone. I don't know what to tell y'all. The party started 3 hours ago and you weren't even on the guest list. So if y'all want to go to the store and buy some stuff to throw on the grill, have at it. We'll be here. But the food's gone. Other than what you see on the table, that's it. That's how I would have done that. I wouldn't have went and bought shit. I wouldn't have gave a fuck. See, you felt responsible because you was a host and you went all out your way to accommodate them and all that kind of stuff. That's not how you do people when they do treat you like this. You don't accommodate them. You make them deal with their own issues. So you want to eat, go, the grill's there. I mean, maybe pick up another bag of charcoal too, because it's kind of low. I was expecting more guests, so I don't have enough charcoal. So buy some charcoal, buy whatever you want to put on the grill and stuff. And there's some little bit of sides, potato salad stuff left in there, not much. I don't know what to tell you. You want to pick up some of that too. Oh yeah, you guys throw some stuff on the grill. We'll be here. We can socialize. If not, bye. See, and now I would be done with it. I'm not going to go through a bunch of changes because you decide to drag a whole, soccer team full of folks to my house for a barbecue that they weren't even invited to. Get out of here. You tripping. I'm like, where they do that at? Okay, and our final question for our last 2 shows in a row. You know I'm about to die. Question number 26. This young man's 42 to 49 from Coventry, England. Summary issue. My partner just recently keeps questioning my finances. So my partner has gotten into this habit of saying, I can't understand why recently you've been so tight with money. I've explained that given my line of work, I'm self-employed, that my payment relies on factors such as payment on time from customers, the weather, and scheduling of work. I am 48 and earn well, but I recently fell into the perfect storm. My company is now VAT registered. Those extra taxes and stuff. My accountant put up their bills. I had to take a client to small claims. My recent job paid late as well. My car just had a massive repair bill. My fault was complacency and not having much of a fallback fund. Also, I made the mistake of getting a car financed and I'm near paying it off. I've been working on becoming debt-free. I was working until I forgot to expect the unexpected. Also, the 2 biggest things happened at the same time. My daughter and I, and owning a house, and just recently finished the work on it. These questions we've come since her cousin has been visiting and has been suggesting to my partner benefits, and I think trying to show her the stay-at-home mom lifestyle. Her partner is self-employed as well, but they are doing very well. However, their circumstances are different to ours, given apparently between them, they earn $120,000 a year. They have 3 cars, a child, rent a house off family, have land and animals. They seem very interested in my financial situation at the moment as well. And it feels like something doesn't add up with the advice they are giving my partner. I've been very clear about everything with my money and strategy I'm taking, but she's having doubts with me and I feel it. I'm doing everything I can to support myself and my family. I have a side hustle as well that's leading up to big work, but somehow when I tell her this, it's not good enough. Deb, I'm working hard and sacrificing a lot. I will take them on holiday again and I will finish the last bits to the house, but I just don't feel like there's an appreciation for how hard I'm working to get back on an even keel when I've taken a hit. I'm growing resentful and angry. What should I do? You should have a serious talk with old girl because it sounds like she's letting her friend get in her ear her partner, the friend's partner, is doing really well, or her cousin. Okay, the cousin's husband or boyfriend, whatever partner, is doing really well, and they live on a farm. They rent a house from family, so the rent is cheap, and they have land so they can grow a lot of their own food, and they have animals so they can grow their own meat. So their food budget would be lower. They have 3 cars. Nobody needs 3 cars and only 2 drivers. 2 is plenty, like a working vehicle and a family vehicle. But they're very interested in your financial situation. All you have to do is shut that down because, I know a lot of people in the UK stay together as couples, but they don't get like legally married, which means that you're essentially still a single man and that your money is just your money. So that's all you have to do is tell her, this is my money and you don't need to know what's going on with my money. You worry about what's going on with your money. I'm taking care of my responsibilities and that's all you need to worry about. And then that's it. That's all you have to say. As far as what her cousin is talking about, tell the cousin that's none of what's going on in your finances and your wallet is none of her business. Why are you being so shy about this and so hesitant about shutting this shit down and going off on everybody? Instead of just telling them it's none of their fucking business, you working extra hard and going through all these changes. The other woman is your cousin trying to get her to understand about being a stay-at-home mom. She don't need to be a stay-at-home mom. You in a situation she needs to help out. Earn money at home, do something. I don't understand why you are so hesitant to speak up and defend yourself. Please do something about that. I mean, I can't make you do it, but it sounds like, they're ganging up on you and they want to be knee deep in your wallet for some reason. I'm not really, from what you read here, I can't find a reason, other than her trying to push your partner into being a stay-at-home mom. And she wants to make sure she has enough money. I mean, that's be the only thing I can determine here, but that doesn't really seem to be, there's something else going on. There's something going on and I don't know what it is. It's like a second agenda here that's not clear to you. And since it's not clear to you, you can't communicate it to me. I'm clueless, but I want you to take a firm stand here and tell all of them that what your finances are none of their business. Their names aren't on your account and they don't need to know what your situation is. They just need to know that you're handling your responsibilities and that's it. Just shut it down. Okay. So anyway, that ends this broadcast of 2 days. We had one show yesterday and 1 day show today. That's a lot for me, but we'll be back on Friday. That's my goal anyway. Be back on Friday. Somebody had asked me about doing DNN, which would normally be on our Friday night. I don't really have, I think I might have enough for maybe one show. If I can get together some slides, I can do that on Friday instead. But other than that, I would need you guys to send in some stuff. Those of you who are regulars and know what kind of stuff we do on DNN, send me some. I don't have any. Like I said, I think I could scrape together enough for one show that was left over from, last year. But it's our summer program here. It's just silly. Don't have no redeeming social value, but it's just a good excuse to laugh at people and stupid stuff that they post online. So if you have something like that, feel free to send it in. Email it to survivingdating@gmail.com. Let me see if I have anything here about DNN. Let me see. I used to have something. I don't know where I put it. Anyway, I'll find something. Oh, here it is. Yes, here we go. But the 6th season, that was last year. So this will be our 7th season this year. 7th season of DNN. But that's how you do it. You take a screenshot. And then you attach it to the email and send it to survivingdating@gmail.com. Make sure the subject line says Dusty News Network or DNN. We can't do videos, like a lot of stuff is cute that you see on TikTok or whatever. We can't use those for copyright violation reasons. We can only use images. Okay, so you email those to survivingdating@gmail.com. And if I get enough in for this week, then I'll have enough to do a show on Friday night. If not, then we'll have to do it the next Friday night until I get enough stuff. We only do this show in the summertime, and it ends Labor Day weekend at the latest. So let's see what we can get out of everybody, okay? And yeah, that's it. Other than that, ta-ta. Got to go back in the kitchen now and finish cooking Auntie's neck bones. See you guys later.